Man, it feels good to be a double champ again. But I'm not sure which one of these belts I like better, dude. It might just be a tie.
Go fuck yourself.
Good afternoon, sports fans, and welcome to this episode of the Trajan Temple Sportcast. I am your host, professional wrestler, Empire Tag Team Champion, KWA Tag Team Champion, and Kansas City Chiefs fanatic, Christian Temple, joined by my side as always by the terrible towel-twirling Trajan. How are we doing this week, my friend?
Much respect on the double belt there. I like it. I'm digging it.
Just had to show it off for the opening few seconds here.
I just don't know how I feel. I mean, on one hand, I kind of win. On the other hand, I kind of lose. I just don't know.
It's just like it's a tie, you know. And remind me of that South Park episode where Stan was the hockey coach and the kid in the hospital was dying and the doctor told him, it's not like he's making progress or that he's dying. It's like a tie. All right, I'm gonna get these off my shoulder here. Set them off to the side. Just had to show off the new gold for a second there. Myself and my partner Justin Gray went to Oklahoma City this past weekend and became two-time tag team champions, the brand new Empire Pro Wrestling Tag Champs, and we couldn't be happier about it. But something else I couldn't be happier about. The Chiefs are back, baby! Let's flip it up right now and let's hear it, Chiefs Kingdom. How about those Chiefs? You know, we make the joke all the time, especially the last few weeks with both of our teams, like, oh man, what a statement victory, even though it was the complete and total opposite. This, without a doubt, was a big-time statement win that Kansas City really needed to make me feel good about myself again, and probably make them feel better about themselves too.
Exactly, and I think you could also say this was a big statement win for Mahomes, just feeling back to himself there.
Absolutely, and it's you bring up Mahomes too, and it's funny. You look at the stats, and once again, it didn't feel like it this time, but he did actually have 50 pass attempts again. I really didn't think it was that much going into this game because we did get the running game involved. But as I say that, the running game was a bunch of short passes to running backs that made good plays. So it at the very same, it was much like having a good run game if you're getting your running backs involved. I mean, 3-yard pass is good enough, just as good as a 3-yard run. You try to spread out the offense too, which is something we've been struggling on for the last few weeks. So it was good to see that again. Another thing that was good to see, 5 passing touchdowns for Mahomes this week. When is the last I can't think of when the last time that happens. I think he did in the AFC Championship game last year against Buffalo. I want to say that was the case, although there were a couple rushing touchdowns in there too, unless they were passes. I don't know. But obviously the leading rusher this week, Darrell Williams, who had a phenomenal play on 3rd and 11. Mahomes drops back, the pressure's getting to him, he steps up the pocket, it kind of looks like he's gonna, try to make a run for it, but there's 2 linebackers there to meet him, so he just hauls it up into the air. You've got Darrell Williams one-on-one with Jonathan Abrams, who is no slouch. He's a name, defensive back, and looking at it in real time, and the way Abrams was positioned, I thought interception all day. I really did, the way he's positioned. But, and this better be on You Got Moss next week, but Darrell Williams goes up and snatches it away from his grasp, pulls it in, touchdown Kansas City, and that ultimately was the sealing touchdown for Kansas City, who walks off with the 41-14 victory. As far as other stats outside of rushing, Travis Kelce surprisingly had the most receiving yards this week. Did not have any touchdowns. Yeah, definitely made a statement. Did not have any touchdowns. That went in the line of Tyreek Hill, who 7 receptions, 83 yards. got 2 touchdowns. The first one, my God, he was so wide open. The defense just let him sneak behind, wide open back of the end zone, perfect. Have to give a shout out to one Noah Gray getting his first touchdown as a Kansas City Chief. It's funny. I was getting frustrated with him because he dropped 2 straight passes on that same drive right before he caught that too. And the Chiefs 4th and 1 on the goal line. I was gonna say 4th and 1 on the goal line, and Mahomes had the faith in him to throw it back of the end zone. Caught, brought it down. Congratulations, Noah Gray, first touchdown of the year. Byron Pringle getting a touchdown as well. Beautiful RPO, suckered in the linebackers and the free safety, and Pringle found a way to sneak past and catch it just along the goal line, and big time statement win, not just for the offense too, but for the defense. But you were going to say something. You were going to say something there too. Go ahead.
Yeah, no, I mean, as much as we've been yearning for the Chiefs to show some sort of offense like they used to have, what really stands out for me for you guys is your defense. I mean, for so long, even when you were like, seemed like no one can stop you. You still had that little thing, like, they're probably going to score on your defense, so the offense had to. And
no safety cushion was too big for them.
No, yeah, and so, I mean, like you alluded to, moving, what's his name, Jones, right, into the middle.
Yes.
It definitely seems to be paying dividends. You're getting that pressure up in the middle, and this was a good offensive line that you faced. I mean, it's not like you faced a terrible offensive line and a good team. They have a lot of controversy going on in the background. I don't know if that's kind of what's going on with them, but I think this win says more about you than the Raiders.
It's definitely not to be taken lightly on the Raiders side, but one thing brought about the defense too. Dan Sorensen got an interception. So if your offense is making Dan Sorensen look good, then something is not quite clicking on all cylinders here too. Jerron Reed with his first sack of the year. Derek Nottie adding to his sack total here too. He's starting to come into form here. I'm excited to see what the future holds for him. But one last little note that I have to make before we move on to the next game is Derek Carr had a QBR of 107.3. Mahomes had a QBR of 136.1, but there was one other person that had a QBR that even surpassed Derek Carr, and I'm talking about the luscious, long-haired wonder himself, future Hall of Fame quarterback Tommy Townsend. He is officially 2 for 2 in his career. Both times he's passed has gone for first downs. That is Hall of Fame worthy if I've ever seen it too. Perfectly thrown pass to Marcus Kemp. I love how they flipped the camera back to him and he's hop, skipping, and jumping just right over to Marcus Kemp to give him a big hug and say, thanks for not making me look foolish. Great fake at a very timely too, because the Raiders were starting to get momentum with the touchdown they had scored. That allowed to keep the drive alive, and ultimately Kansas City made it work. They paid off. Or Tommy Townsend's risk paid off. They got the touchdown and ultimately ended up sealing the game. But moving on to another game that happened on Sunday, and a little inside baseball for everybody. I did talk with Trajan, and we discussed whether or not this was I don't want to talk about it worthy. And he brought up a good point. If Ben Roethlisberger played in this game and the same result recurred, it probably would have been. But they weren't just missing Big Ben. Chase Claypool went out. TJ Watt went out. Luckily, from what I heard, neither of which sound serious nor season ending. So good on them. You hate to see, especially since other players in the league are dropping like flies, i.e. Chase Young, who's now out for the season with a torn ACL. But moving on to the final score of the Detroit Lions versus Pittsburgh. The Detroit Lions did not lose this week, but they did not win, so they remain winless. 16-16, the final score. So, Trajan, the floor is yours for this week's high scoring, high intensity matchup.
Like I said, I don't even know what to think about this because on one hand, yeah, it's a tie, and I hate that. I really do. On the other hand, I mean, if you look how we played, we should have lost. I mean, I don't know how we eked out a tie out of this. But no, I mean, so a little background. So it's my wife's family's Thanksgiving this weekend. Of course, it's at noon.
Of course.
You gotta miss the Steelers game, but so we're going down, and I get to listen to the first drive of the Steelers. They march on down there. James Washington scores 7-0. I'm like, okay, maybe we can do this. We got this. And I'm not feeling most confident in Mason Rudolph because I mean it's Mason Rudolph. But no, I mean he gave us opportunities to win. I mean he did have that interception. Looking at his stat line there, he's 30 for 50, which while you're throwing in bad conditions with Mason Rudolph 50 times, I don't know. I mean some of those, just kind of like you said, they're extensions of the run, so that's a lot of what the Pittsburgh Steelers offense does.
I didn't even put it together that Mason Rudolph and Patrick Mahomes threw exactly the same amount of times too, and only 5 completions separated the two of them.
Yeah, so I mean, he just didn't do the long bombs, which the weather really didn't. It was kind of rainy, snowy, windy, cold game.
Yes.
So it was a rough game. It's one of those hard-hitting AFC North, this time of year, November kind of game, but it was sloppy. I mean, we fumbled the ball in overtime, and so I didn't get to see the game. I just got to see highlights of it, or lack of highlights. But
many low lights to be shown in this game.
Low lights, very low lights. Najee had good yardage again. I mean, rushing wise, he did 105 yards. Receiving there, he tacks on another 28. So I mean, 133 yards, not too shabby. But it's just the fumbles. I mean, they're gonna kill you. Interceptions, drive killers. They give the momentum. They give hope to the other team. It says a lot that our backup quarterback can go and make it competitive against their starting quarterback. I mean, you look at Jared Goff's, which he is playing hurt, but his stat line is terrible. 14 for 25. Like I said, it was an inclement weather game, but 114 yards. The thing that killed us all day with our defense, and even before TJ Watt, who went down late in the third quarter, was their run game. Oh my gosh.
DeAndre Swift
this week. Got some points.
Yes, they did.
Biggest thing though is they denied him the end zone. They gave the end zone carries to Godwin. I can't even pronounce his last name.
Not even gonna give it a try.
Not even gonna give it. I don't want to disrespect him because they already disrespected our team. But it's just crazy. I just don't know what to feel about it. We should have won if we played clean, but we didn't, and I just don't know how we got away with a tie.
I have to say probably your 3 biggest stars on your team this week. Najee Harris, obviously, for 26 rushes and over 100 yards, including 4 receptions for another 28 yards. So another 100-plus yard day for him. He's been staying consistent for you. No touchdowns, obviously, but another one that was stepped up in a big way too. That would be Cameron Hayward coming in with 2 sacks this week. Especially stepping up for TJ Watt too after his exit. And another unsung hero for you guys definitely would have to be actually 2 of them, your special teams, Chris Boswell and Presley Harvin, who both had to be they both had to be clutch in their own aspects because much as the weather affects offense and defense, special teams, it really affects you. We saw a little deja vu in the game too, with the snap going over the head of Mason Rudolph, but luckily that didn't end up in the end zone and for a touchdown for the opposing team. So they're shooting.
No, that didn't happen.
Thanking your lucky stars on that one for sure. But one quick note here too. That wasn't the only tie this week, and I know fans at home be like, "What are you talking about? That was the only game that tied." Well, we are not speaking of the NFL. We are speaking of fantasy football this week. So,
Yep.
my fantasy football season could be described in many words, such as atrocious, appalling, disappointing, and Detroit Lions-esque. It's not going much better for my friend Trajan here, the commissioner of said fantasy football league. We were set head-to-head this week. He was, I think you were what, a 3-point favorite or something like that going in.
No.
I had to change my lineup 3 times because 2 players got put on IR and 1 was questionable. So I made all the necessary changes and everything too. We come to Sunday Night Football, where we both have 1 player each. And those players was, respectively, Derek Carr for Trajan, his quarterback.
Yep.
And I had Darren Waller, my tight end, left. And I'm up by 11. So I'm like, okay, well, you know what? They're playing against my team. So as long as they both suck, I'm winning, so who cares, right?
Yep.
So we go into the third quarter. I'm jazzed up about the Chiefs. You know, I'm not caring too much about fantasy. Right? I don't even think about it. But the commercial break happens, and then I'm just like, you know what? It popped in my head. I'll check on it really quick. Oh, we're tied at 98 apiece.
Oh my goodness.
We're tied at 98 apiece. So the game's out of reach. Kansas City's already won 2, but the Raiders have the ball and they're driving. So I'm like, okay, you know what? If they are going to get a garbage time touchdown, at least let it be Darren Waller, because then I'll win. Or, if Derek Carr gets picked off, I still win.
Yep.
2 things happened that just absolutely describes my luck as a fantasy owner this year. 3rd and goal,
Yep.
Carr drops back, hits Darren Waller square in the numbers, touchdown, Las Vegas Raiders. Nope, there is laundry on the field, holding on the offense, 10-yard penalty, replay the down. I'm like, okay. Oh, that's just my luck. They're the defeats snatched from the jaws of victory. The very next play, 4th and goal. Carr drops back, rolls out to his left, and you can just see it from a mile away. Oh, he is just going to chuck this and just pray to God somebody catches it. He throws it way across the other side of the field. It didn't even reach the end zone, I don't think. He's standing at the 20, and that's how far he threw it across the field. It didn't even reach the end zone. It was on the 2-yard line. Mike Hughes, who fumbled earlier in the game, by the way, has it in his grasp, and he drops it at the goal line. That was 2 straight plays. I could have won, but no.
Yeah.
It wasn't just you that had to suffer a tie. I had to suffer a tie as well this week. Trajan, you've said it multiple times, our fates are sealed. And unfortunately, it's not just with our teams, it's with our fantasy teams.
No, I opened it up. I'm like, this is a cruel trick by the football gods. They are literally out to get me this weekend. And there's nothing else that could be said about it. It's just like, yeah, we're going to slap you with a tie this weekend. You're just going to live with it. And so, no, it's crazy. But a little trivia fact. When do you think Steelers last tied the Lions?
Oh, when did they last tie the Lions?
Yeah.
Let's see. We'll do a higher or lower. Would that have been in the early 50s?
Little bit higher there. It's in the 50s.
It is in the 50s. I'm going to say 55.
Close. 59.
1959. Wow. Unbelievable.
That is score of 10-10.
10-10 was what that was. Okay. You know what? And actually, you brought that up too, and obviously that wasn't the game that was on TV, but the game beforehand was already over, so I actually got to watch all of overtime. Um, and they brought up the it was a 1995, I think, is when you guys played, and the score was exactly the same. It was 16-16, but the Lions got the ball first and kicked the game-winning field goal in overtime to take the lead. And when they lined up for that 48-yard field goal, I'm like, oh my god, is history about to repeat itself? But that was, I thought it got blocked, but that was just a horrible attempt. So that's why I give credit to Chris Boswell, because he didn't fold under the rain. He was perfect all day long. But Santosio, or whoever the kicker was for Detroit, he was not clutch, not by the slightest this week. So
you know what the worst part is? You're talking about Chris Boswell being clutch. We were in his range. He could have kicked that field goal. And then Pat Fryermuth, I like the guy. He's going to grow. But you got to hold on to the ball in those moments.
Don't be a juju.
Why we're throwing with no timeouts left, I don't know. It's just, it's frustrating. It's another day as a Steelers fan.
Well, there was quite a day to be had for other teams this week, and actually the first game I will let you have, because you were very happy with this result, that being the Thursday night game.
Oh yeah, so I knew Baltimore was Thursday night. I'm like, who are they playing again? I see Miami. I'm like, oh great, they're gonna stay up there at the top of the North. They get a guaranteed win. No, sir. Miami, 22-10. It doesn't really reflect the score. It was a sloppy, defensive matchup there, and Miami just came out a little bit better, which with a bench warmer Tua came into action on that game. So it was a great day to see the AFC North lead fall to the Miami Dolphins.
And that was crazy too. Because I couldn't watch most of the game, but I did get the alert on my phone that Tua was back on the field. I'm like, oh god, I didn't even think he was 100% yet. But obviously, as the score shows, it was just enough to get the job done.
Oh yeah, no, I kept on thinking. I'm like, this has happened so many times this season. The Ravens have come back. I mean, you got the Vikings game. They came back versus Detroit, which I'm going to hold dear to, that they needed a record-setting field goal to beat the Detroit Lions.
Yes.
With their starting MVP caliber quarterback. So don't be talking all this shit about us tying to the Dolphins.
it was almost a lot. It was almost a lot worse for the Ravens. Speaking of things that went a lot worse, the New York Jets, who for the moment had a little bit of hope. They had a little bit of hope. They found their new franchise quarterback with Mark White, and the football gods said, "Thou shalt not be happy." And the Buffalo Bills thoroughly agreed and thrashed them by a final score of 45-17. Obviously feeling a little chip on their shoulder from last week's embarrassment against the Jaguars.
Yeah, no, they came into play and took care of their division rival quite handedly, and it's just kind of funny. But I think one of the funniest matchups is this next one: Washington beating Tampa Bay.
Whew, all hail Taylor! All hail Taylor! All hail Taylor Heineke!
Yeah, it only cost them an ACL, but they did win versus Tom Brady. And so, no, I just like how Tom Brady, he was just so pissed at the conference, he cut it short. It's just kind of funny there. But 29-19, Tampa Bay loses to the Washington football team.
Obviously, Dan Snyder was too greedy to sell his soul for a victory over Tom Brady, so he sold Chase Young's ACL to the devil to get that victory.
Yeah.
Well, another big disappointment, but a very predictable result. The Dallas Cowboys going to town on the Atlanta Falcons. Not a whole lot to talk about in this game, but the post game rather was something that was pretty funny. Mike McCarthy awarding the game ball to former head coach of the Atlanta Falcons, Dan Quinn, after a flawless defensive front put up against the Falcons, only holding them to 3 points. But I am nervous about next week since Kansas City will be hosting the Dallas Cowboys at Arrowhead Stadium. I will not be at that game, but I know a few friends of mine that are Dallas Cowboys fans that will be, and I'm sure they're excited to see that game live.
Oh yeah. No, it'll be a good game, but I wish that game was a little closer, Dallas, Atlanta. But I mean, good for Dan Quinn. I mean, it always feels good to beat up on the team you used to play for, so or coach for. But that brings into Tennessee, New Orleans. Tennessee ekes out a victory here. It didn't look like it was going to happen there for a little bit. It looked like New Orleans was going to pull out an upset, but Tennessee handles business 23-21.
Yep, with a 6-game winning streak now, and the question has been how long can they keep this up without Derrick Henry? But as they're showing right now, as long as they possibly need to, and that right now has them as the kings of the AFC as it stands. Obviously, still got 7 games left to play this season, so. We shall, excuse me, 7 games. Yes, I was right. I was second guessing myself. But we shall see if that will stay the same and if they will be the ones to get the so important first week bye in the playoffs. Down to a team that most certainly will not make the playoffs, but put up a pretty good fight. The Jacksonville Jaguars fall to the Indianapolis Colts by a final score of 23-17. Obviously, this was a game the Colts would rather have made a much bigger statement on, especially at home. But the Jaguars, riding off the momentum of last week's victory, gave them a pretty good fight.
Yeah. I mean, Jacksonville, yes, they're not doing good, but they're staying in these games, and I mean, they might be a few players away from being at least a mediocre team instead of a crap team.
a high threshold to reach when you've got Urban Meyer as your coach.
I mean, he could sell his soul too.
Oh, absolutely.
But which brings me to another funny game this week.
Oh my goodness.
It's a little more dear to my heart than seeing Tom Brady lose because the Cleveland Browns get slaughtered. After they're coming off of a high last week, beating the Bengals, they just get humiliated. They get brought down to earth, curb stomped. Oh my gosh.
Before you go any further, have you checked on your brother recently?
Oh, I did. You probably see it in he always sends the same message when the game's about to start. It's the Dexter Laboratory praying to the one player of the Browns.
Yeah.
And so, and I actually had Dearness Johnson this week, and he did good for me, despite what the stat lines say for the scores. But he just Cleveland's a hurt team right now. They are reeling back from injuries. Baker exited the game. I don't know if he could have finished it out if it was a more competitive game, or if they're like, this one's already lost, you're already hurt, get out of here. But no, it's not good for them, and maybe they're not better without OBJ.
Perhaps not. Maybe that wasn't the problem after all. But here's another problem we are facing here with the Patriots now. They are knocking on the door behind the Buffalo Bills to take back what they believe is rightfully theirs and has been theirs for many, many years, and that is the AFC East crown. So, with their schedule upcoming and the fact that they will play them once again, we shall definitely see what the future holds for the AFC East. If the Bills are still for real the kings of the East, or if the Patriots will come back and the evil emperor will take back his throne. Moving on to the other side of the country, SoFi Stadium. This was a surprise to me. The Minnesota Vikings taking care of business against the Los Angeles Chargers by a final score of 27-20. I didn't get a chance to watch this game, but this was a game that I was constantly checking in on my phone to see, just hope and pray that the Vikings
Yep.
would help out the Chiefs a little bit.
Oh yeah, no. We started out just like every year, out on the Chargers. Everyone's hyping them up, and then it's like, oh, they might be for real. This might be the year. And what is it? 4 straight now, or is it like 3 straight?
I think it's 3 of the last 4 is what I believe.
Yeah. And so I just don't know what's happening there. I mean, Justin Herbert isn't playing lights out like he was. I don't know if he needs help more from the run game or what his deal is there, but his stat line was only 20 of 34, 195 yards, 1 touchdown, 1 interception.
Other teams
That's
might be able to
basically
might be figuring him out right now. We'll see. We will definitely see how it goes.
which we're facing him next week, and I think Joey Bosa is out.
Oh wow! I didn't
And
even see
so
that.
I
So
want to say that he's labeled as is out for this next week.
so no Joey Bosa versus T.J. Watt matchup. Not that they would face each other, but still, no, that would have been an interesting storyline to see who would be more of a threat on the defensive side.
Yep. So it's Joey Bosa out and Jerry Tillery on the COVID reserve list.
Aha! I see.
So now they could come back. They just have to test out, but being in a week there, it's probably not going to happen.
There we go. Well, speaking of something that didn't happen, but we really wanted to happen, a marquee matchup between the returning Cam Newton and Kyler Murray. A great showdown of the ages between one promising upstart quarterback and the grizzled old veteran, and it would have been very exciting is what I would be saying, except that didn't happen. No Kyler Murray this week, and Cam Newton did return, albeit for only 2 or 3 plays. But the final score of that game was very surprising, all things considered. Although Christian McCaffrey did return, and he was very effective against the Cardinals' defense. That is without T.J. Watt. And the final score of the Carolina Panthers defeating the Cardinals 34-10. Not characteristic of the Cardinals at all, but with the injuries they've been suffering, maybe their luck is starting to run thin.
Oh yeah, I mean, you look at the stat line for their quarterbacks. They had 2 in this game. Colt McCoy is the backup for the Cardinals. 11 for 20, 107 yards, and 1 interception.
He's still alive. I didn't think he was still in the league.
He
Last I
alive.
saw, he was with the New York Giants, and that feels like it was 5 or 6 years ago.
Oh yeah, so it's just you're not going to win with numbers like that. James Conner got 1 touchdown, but he was 10 carries for 39 yards. I mean, they're a beat up team right now.
Yes.
They definitely need to get healthy.
And with that loss, that now puts the Green Bay Packers up top of the NFC and sitting in the first round bye spot.
Yep. No, I mean it's the NFC is definitely a lot more top heavy than the AFC right now.
Absolutely.
But then we go over to the Philadelphia versus Denver Eagles versus.
Yes.
The Eagles win.
Oh, the Eagles didn't just win. Oh, no. They dominated them, and it was so beautiful to see.
It's like, what the hell? I mean, if you're Denver, you go out, completely slaughter the Cowboys.
On the road. On the road.
And then you just go and lay an egg versus the Eagles. How? I mean, I just don't know how that happens. 30-13. And Denver, one side note, I guess Teddy Bridgewater is getting so much crap for not putting effort in.
I was just about to bring that up. So Darius Slay picks up the fumble. He goes by, and Teddy Bridgewater is literally within a grasp of him and doesn't even make the effort to tackle him. But on that same note, as funny as that was, I understand because it was only a few weeks ago that Baker Mayfield did the exact same thing, and he's been battling a nagging injury ever since of that.
Oh yeah, and then you got I mean, his NFL career was almost over with an injury.
Absolutely.
So I mean, I'm sure that's in the back of his head. He's like, I get paid for my arm, not to tackle people.
Exactly. That's exactly correct. Well, another team that did tackling very, very well, so well, in fact, that they kept the Seahawks off the board. The newly first place Green Bay Packers shutting out the Seahawks at Lambeau Field by a final score of 17-0. Not a whole lot, excitement going on this game, except for one funny moment of DK Metcalf being exiled from the game, but thinking, if I sneak back in, they won't notice, right? Goes into the huddle, and the referee tells him, like, sir, excuse me, I told you to get the F out. And then he ultimately leaves and does not come back.
Yeah, no, I don't know what's going on there, but I know it definitely hurt me in fantasy and definitely helped get me that tie this weekend.
I forgot
So
Metcalf was on your
DJ,
team. I was wondering why he scored so
DJ.
low, and then I saw that.
Yeah, no, it's 5 points. I mean, geez, can I get a break here? But yeah, no, Aaron Rodgers had a game. They came out with a win. He was 23 for 37, 292 yards, no touchdowns, one interception. It's just Russell Wilson just played like complete garbage, which this is his first game back with the injury. And so 20, 40, 161 yards, and 2 picks. So not that impressive of a game.
Not in the slightest.
But we'll skip over that Chiefs Las Vegas game. It was kind of mediocre.
Are you sure we can't just touch on that one more time?
One more time.
Five touchdown game for Patrick
Maybe
Mahomes
41 seconds of a 41 score game.
So it's like that segment Daniel Tosh does. Like, how many funny insults can you come up with in 41 seconds?
No. But we'll see you do it against a real team, I guess. I'm just kidding. No, the end of the Monday night game there, which
surprise,
shocked me,
surprise.
Going out early against LA and just
Oof.
completely dominated, 31-10. San Fran beats up on the Rams there. Another team that we were early in the year kind of crowning, and two question marks in a row there, and we don't know really what to make of this team. Have people figured out how to go against their offense?
You can't tell me that if you would ask 100 people if the final score was 31-10, you could not tell me that that freaking 97. Because 3 people might be 49ers fans, but 97 people probably would have said the Rams would have had the 31 points in this game. Just absolutely, completely unexpected. I mean, I guess we really shouldn't have written off the 49ers that easily, but at the same time, there have been teams that have had off games a lot these past few weeks. I mean, Buffalo Bills being the most obvious example, but at home, the San Francisco 49ers took care of business, and my hat is definitely off to them.
Oh, yeah. No, I literally had the conversation Monday around noon with someone that why are the Rams only 3.5-point favorites? And obviously someone knew more than we knew because they weren't even favorites in this game.
Absolutely not. Alrighty, well, that is week 10 in the books now. There's been a lot of shocks, a lot of surprises, but you know what? I guess we're getting close to towards the 3/4 mark of the season, so that's to be expected. Who knows what's going to happen next? But next week, we mentioned both of our teams. Obviously, Kansas City will be at home against the Dallas Cowboys. That'll be a 3:25 kickoff. Trajan, the Pittsburgh Steelers will have the Los Angeles Chargers this week.
Yes, we do. So, like I said, maybe without Joey Bosa, but we might be without TJ Watt. there's an off chance that Big Ben plays Sunday Night Football. He is vaccinated, so all he has to do is have 2 negative tests, and then he is cleared to play.
You mean to tell me he's not immunized?
Yeah, he's not. Trust me, I'm covered, man. I'm covered.
There you go.
But yeah, so Mika Fitzpatrick, probably a healthy scratch from that game. He is also on the COVID list there, so don't expect to see him on that game. He popped up on Monday.
Mm-hmm.
TJ Watt probably not going to play there. Maybe play it safe.
Definitely precautionary.
They've kind of kept it close to the chest there on really what's going on with him there. But hopefully he heals up. Maybe we keep this game a little bit more competitive than the last. I mean, clean up a few key turnovers, we win that game. So, I mean, we can definitely go up and play against the Chargers too.
There we go. Alrighty, well, that is our show this week. Thank you again, everybody, so much for watching. Click like if you liked the video. Click subscribe if you really enjoyed it. Tell all of your friends. And thank you for following us every step of the way. And
I don't even know where mine is.
Well, I'll wave mine. I'll wave mine loud and proud. Thank you, everybody, again. This is Temple and Trajan signing off.